You're listening to Auroville Radio, and this is Interview of the Week. We have with us in the studio today Deepa and Calvin, who you might have read, they cycled all the way from Delhi to Auroville. It took them 61 days. Actually, I said we'd just got Deepa and Calvin, but we've actually got a whole studio full. Stephano, do you wanna go around the room?
Hi all, I'm Stephano, and we have also in the room Aila, that is a radio volunteer from Delhi also, right? Mm. And we are here with this great, I don't know how to, bicycles, fans or players of the bicycle, and you came here to Auroville, taking 61 days from Delhi, right? How this started?
I am always looking for rental-free spaces in the world to stay. So somebody invited me to come and live in Auroville during winters. And so there's a house and I'm in Delhi, and I don't fly in the country because of carbon miles. So I thought I'll maybe take a train, but because of Corona, I was hesitant, and so were my parents. So I thought, okay, there's a cycle and we can just cycle down to Auroville. I mean, it's fine. So, and I thought, okay, then also if I have a co-traveler, it's always better if there's one more person. So I put it on Facebook that I like to cycle to Auroville from early October. And if you're interested to come on this trip, just email me. But there are two creative constraints. We will be traveling without any phone and any money. And so many people wrote to me, and they said, we are all keen, we would like to come, we are cyclists, we love the road, and so on. And they said, but we'll all bring our phones. Everybody wanted to bring their phone. So I had to say no to them. And then Calvin also wrote to me, and he said he's up for this experiment. And I said, okay, come home. So we'll talk, we'll have our first meeting. And then he came home and he said, okay, so we're going to do this without phone and money. And how do you think food is going to come? And I said, I don't know, but it's going to come. And he said, where will we sleep in the evening? I said, we'll sleep somewhere. I don't know, but something will happen. He said, so you know nothing? And I said, yeah, practically nothing. And he said, okay, then I'm on. So here we are.
So, yeah, Calvin, when did you come on the scene? Did Deepa start the journey before you? Where did you hook up?
We met in Delhi, and we departed from Deepa's home in the morning when our journey started. Mm-hmm. So we were acquainted in Delhi for a couple of years, and we knew of each other. I had been following her posts about some cycle trips here and there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So I think the first thing we better get out of the way is a lot of people would ask, how did the whole COVID thing affect you guys? Because I mean, when did you start the journey? When did you leave Delhi?
We left on 15th October.
Okay.
9 a.m. and we were here on 14 December. 5 p.m.
Wow.
61 days.
So did you need like travel passes to go between states, or you just avoided checkposts?
When we started, the only state that needed quarantine was Tamil Nadu, but I knew by the time we'll get there, they're going to take it off. Right. But we didn't need any permits or nothing, and nothing. Nobody even asked us.
Right.
Nothing.
Okay.
Yeah. And the Corona
was wearing off in Delhi. The roads had opened up, the state borders had opened up. We had been under lockdown for many months.
Right.
We were stuck at home for a long time. And as avid travelers, that's not the best thing for a lifestyle that we would choose. So we were all pretty tired of sitting at home and pretty tired of the city life also in general. So it was a good break, and as it turns out, on the road no one really believes in corona in the villages and all.
Right.
So we had ample fresh air and no corona and no masks. We did wear masks initially, hoping that we'll save others from ourselves being city slickers. But they didn't have any of it.
Right.
And they thought it was weird that we were wearing masks. Yeah.
So if we can go back just a little bit earlier in your stories, Calvin, you trained to be a lawyer, didn't you?
Yeah, that's right.
And did you actually practice law at all?
I did practice for very little time, about 2 months after I graduated.
Yeah.
And then I had a choice between performing arts, which I was getting involved in dance musical theatre.
Yeah.
And I figured I should keep both my feet in one boat and not do multiple things. So past 10 years I've been a musician, traveling from time to time, and in between I ran a cafe and did some odd things along the way. And
so how did your parents take it when you gave up a good proper job like a legal profession?
Not very nicely.
Are they okay with it now?
Yeah, once they realized that I'm making a few bucks, paying my bills, they started growing into it. But it still hasn't worn off completely. Because there are days when I don't make money, also. Right. It's a good life. I like it. It doesn't go down well with too many people.
I have a question for Deepa. What's your work? What did you do in Delhi usually before to leave?
It's so hard to answer this, but I am mostly interested in social and urban permaculture. That's where my interest is, and in the last 12 years I've been able to set up some community terraces in Delhi, anchor zero waste forums in the country, and have deeply been experimenting with alternate economy and pushing barters and skill exchange and gift, and trying to explore other kind of wealth than just money, and which is also the premise of this a cycling trip like this. When people say, why would you leave money behind and phone behind? It is also to know that social capital exists very strongly in our country still, even in this era. And people will house and feed you even before you ask. And experiments like this reinstate my faith that, it's getting better than worse.
I notice on your website, Deepa, you talk about conscious food. Could you explain to our listeners what do you mean by conscious food?
For me, conscious food / conscious eating is to know the difference between that does my stomach want food or do I want food? Because mostly these are two different things.
Oh, yeah.
And to be able to identify this and to listen to the body when it says, I'm hungry, and to also wait for it to say I'm hungry, and to also to listen to it when it says enough.
Yeah.
And then I don't put that extra piece of whatever in my mouth. And to also understand that there's food which is seasonal, local, indigenous, food that is forgotten, and all this can be brought back. Even if it's an urban lifestyle, all this can be brought back to live a life of food consciousness, and also compensating for all the lost nutrients by just growing some things in the house. Very basic weeds can just compensate for that. And this is a start to understand what it is to eat, because eating is not it's not just a pleasurable act, it's an agricultural act. It's the full line of food chain that you're participating in. You're at the end of the line, but There's a full line, and then and small changes that one can do in eating habits can help one possibly look at climate change and global warming and farmer protest in a different way.
Yes.
If we can just make small tweaks in our lifestyles.
That's the only way to do it. I mean, there's been how many decades have people been trying to push the government to be more environmentally conscious, and they won't. They never will. So it's up to us as individuals to make a difference.
Always.
So at what point did this change come? Did you decide that you wanted to start eating more consciously and questioning a system?
So 12 years back or so, when I was in IT, and I got fired because of recession in 2009. I had some months off for the first time in my life, and I was 29 years old. And I really enjoyed those months off. I was eating more slowly. Like when I was eating a papaya, I was eating a papaya. I was not looking at the watch to say, okay, I have to be somewhere while I'm eating this. And I realized that those years in the corporate life have not worked for me. It has made me miserable, anxious, angry, and of course less kind. And I knew that if I want to experience something else, more wholesome, it cannot happen here. It has to happen somewhere else. And then I started looking for what this something else is. And the universe brought me in front of people who were already doing this something else. And that really changed my life. And I met people who were into zero waste and intermittent fasting and conscious veganism and growing food in their house and composting and bioenzymes, living without soap and many things. I was like bombarded with this world, which was always there, but I wasn't ready to knock at that door. And when I was, the doors opened. So yeah, it's been 12 years since then and still learning.
And this is the first time you come to Auroville?
Second time. I was here in 2005 in Pondicherry, and I was living in the ashram, and I had no clue about Mother or Sri Aurobindo, nothing. I just came to Pondicherry, I went to the ashram and I stayed there. And I came here in 2010, and I was living again in Pondicherry, but somehow came to Auroville. But like a tourist, like just coming to the solar kitchen, having a meal and looking at the jungles and going back. And this time I was brought, I think, with an intention to soak it more deeply. And it's our third month here already. And it's been fantastic so far.
Good.
And what about you?
I came once or twice many years ago, but I was on the outskirts of Auroville, and I didn't really dive deeper into the core of it. So I could recognize the right turn when we arrived on bicycle. But post that, it's just been an unfolding of a beautiful gift of exploring all these things that have rooted in Auroville, So there's sort of an energy that's very calming and also spiritual. So this is practically my first time here, I would say.
There is something our listeners, radio listeners don't know, is that Calvin is wearing a guitar.
Yeah.
And he is ready to play some music for us. So what if we invite him to play a song?
I think that's a very good idea.
All right.
Normally when I say, time for some music, I spin the discs metaphorically. But you've got such a lovely looking guitar with you today. What would you like to sing for us first?
So I write travel songs, and I've released an album of travel songs. And usually I just go with the flow, and one that crosses my mind now is a song on that album that's called Aladdin.
Okay.
So there's no mention of genies and bottles and, stuff like that, but it's just a song about leaving your baggage aside and hitting the road.
Okay.
Freedom for a banjo,
I knew I had to run, but I got nowhere to hide. Senses, you don't need no lenses. I won't be sitting fences. I took it to the ground. Strapped up, all of life is wrapped up. You got to fill your cup up. It shatters with a sound, yeah. Can I be all I want to be? Yeah. Got to find yours out for ballistic purity. On that munchies talking all around. Mend it, don't try to pretend it's just another price that you will have to pay. Can I be all I want to be? Yeah, got to find just out for ballistic purity.
Wow, that was really cool.
Yeah.
So when did you write that song? What was the inspiration behind that one?
Well, I thought, trade them for a banjo.
Okay.
Trade them for a banjo. Set my bags aside.
Right.
I knew I had to run, but I got nowhere to hide. It's a song about leaving your baggage aside and picking up a banjo.
So you play banjo as well?
No, I don't. But it sounds good.
It's a metaphorical banjo.
So I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
What I don't know if it's kind of embarrassing you, but I like it to embarrass you. I'm sorry. What do you do? What do you, Calvin? Do you think what did you think when she told you she wanted to travel for a very long path to come here without anything, just with the guitar, without money, without telephone? What did you think? What was your first reaction?
I was like, jackpot. Because I had followed her work 2 years back, and she'd been traveling in Orissa, and I saw the photo log that she posted, and I knew that the next time she's going somewhere, I should be in the radar. So someone tagged me on a post and said, just tagged me on my name on Facebook And as soon as I saw it, I said, this is going to work and this has to work. I did try to get my phone.
Okay.
Yeah. Until the very last day, I was like, hey, maybe we can take the phone along, take some pictures. But we had a little camera for that, and she blew every argument that I've put in favor of a phone. But I tried this once many years ago. I got on my cycle, tried to go to Goa with literally no money and a guitar on my back. Story cut short, it didn't work. I went 100 kilometers and my legs stopped working after that, and I was bedridden for 3 days. No preparation. But I did pick up 2 things from that trip. I knew I needed sunglasses, or rather dust glasses, if you know what I mean. And I knew that this would work in India, because that very afternoon on day 1, I asked for directions and someone said, first you come join us for lunch, because we're going to eat now. So I knew that that it's very much possible. But I suppose I needed someone to project the idea into the world and say, this is going to happen and I'm in. So as much as I might try to say I could use my phone on this trip, if not money, it worked out. And it ended up as a great team. She had her roles, I had my roles, and we worked together, and it just fit so well that we didn't go through any troubles as such throughout.
Any troubles at all? No, I can't believe it.
None whatsoever.
Yeah.
Do you have any particular story to tell
We have
about this travel?
Yeah.
Many.
Yeah, plenty of stories, and actually, it was too easy. We found it like for us to be on the road is the most normal thing. To be in one place is challenging sometimes for us, and it was just so simple. We woke up every day at 7 and 8:30 we would pack our cycles and we would just leave. And when we are hungry at about 10:30, 11, I would it was my duty to ask for food or get it from somewhere. I would just go to the first person I see, or the first restaurant or dhaba or anything, and I would just say that we are coming from Delhi, it's our 4th, 5th day, and by choice we have not kept any food, any money and phone. And if you feel like it, maybe you can give us 1 roti. And they would say, what are you saying? What do you mean 1 roti? We'll give you 10 rotis, come. Yeah, so that's it. It was so simple. And then we would have a meal, and if it's too sunny, we'll take a nap for 2-3 hours from 12 to 3. And then we'll again cycle again till about 5:30, till the sun is about to set. And then we would just enter the village, any village we would see on our left or right. We would just go in and we would ask that, we will again say the same thing, what we were doing. And we would say if we can sleep in somebody's house or in the school or a panchayat office or a temple, church, mosque, or somebody's just veranda outside. And and that's all we needed. And then just find a hand pump, ask for a bucket and a mug from a neighbor, and take a bath, wash our clothes, because we only had 2 pairs. And by the time we are doing this, somebody will invite us for dinner in their house. So, by the time we have hung our laundry, we are already moving to somebody's house for dinner.
Perfect flow.
Yeah, and that's it. We have a meal, we chat, and we answer the same questions every day. Who we are, our names, where are we from, what do we do, why are we doing this, when will we get there, and so on. Same conversations every day, over 20 times the same conversation with new people. And then the day gets over, and then we sleep, and then we do this all over again the next day. So
I'm kind of tempted to say only in India, but I mean, if one believes in the idea of a universal consciousness, and if you are, from your own heart manifesting this need for food, the universe should bring it to us. Is that something that kind of underpins your philosophy?
Yes, like mostly people say that, because you were in India, it was possible to do this, and if you come to Europe or America or any other place, it may not be possible. But I like to see what happens when I would do this there someday.
Right.
And I feel, maybe everybody would not want to help, but we don't need everybody. When I'm hungry, I need that one person who will offer me an apple. And that one person would appear.
Yeah.
Because we don't need 20 apples. We just need one. So one apple can come.
Yeah, I mean, the media tells us to fear our neighbours, but actually most people are pretty good. Most people are all right.
That's very true. In fact, how the media works, for example, we were traveling through a village each day, and the next day, the village we stay at will ask, how was the village that you stayed at last night? And we would say, it was good, it was great. And they'd say, no, village of thieves,
Right.
So they probably heard one story about something, and they have an image of that village based on that one instance. And there would be times when people would say, we're great, but the people up ahead may not be as good as us. So they would offer us some money or offer to pack our tiffins for us and stuff. All in, in good spirit. Yeah. But they would throw that in there, You don't know what it's like out there. So it's no different from a city.
Yeah.
If from village to village, 30, 40 kilometers apart, it's the same thing. So Deepa was sharing very often on this trip, that if you just take out your newspapers, your television, and your WhatsApp groups from the equation, you have a more, just view of the world.
Yeah.
In what to expect in general.
That's wonderful. Yeah. Something else that you've spoken about before, Deepa, you said you've lived without buying anything new for 12 years. How's that been?
Oh, it's been very liberating. And I haven't bought hardly anything in the last 12 years. And ever since I decided to do this, things just come to me. Like, I wanted a cycle 2 years back and I was wondering where to get it from. And then a friend said, I have a cycle. I don't use it. I can't give it to anybody else, but to you I can give because I know you use it. So this cycle is that cycle which came to me 2 years back, the one I rode.
Wow.
And then when I was, when we were prepping to leave, another friend called me and he said, I read you're leaving for Tamil Nadu. I said, yeah. He said, you have saddlebags? I said, no. He said, how will you carry your stuff? I said, I don't know. Something. He said, I have extra saddlebags I've never used. I'll send them to you. So saddlebags came. Then another friend called and she said, do you have a rack at the back of your cycle to put saddlebags? I said, no. He said, okay, I'll send you that rack because I have a rack and I don't use it. So everything just came. I had to do nothing except intent it. And but many years back when I was thinking that if I need a black umbrella, I'm sure in Delhi there will be somebody who has a black umbrella they're not using. How do I find this person? So I set up a Facebook group called The Shop of the Big Hearted, and in Hindi it's called Darya Dil Dukan. And that's it. And then every time I needed something, I would just write there that I need a pair of headphones and I live here. If you're close by, you have a spare pair, let me know, I'll come and pick it. And this is about 6 years back. And now that group is really big. People are doing this on that group. It's over 10,000 people and people are offering things that we have these extra clothes and shoes and whatnot because we live in extra all the time.
Yeah.
And so I never have to buy anything because if I need something, I just put it there or I ask in my circle and everybody has everything extra.
That's fantastic.
So, yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
What do you think, Aila? Could you live in this way also?
I'm not so sure. I think my generation has been the generation of plenty. We've grown up with everything we've ever wanted. But also an exchange economy. I think Auroville is the first place that I'm also seeing people live like this. I mean, I was in a boarding school and at the end of the year we had a system called gold trash. So all the kids if they had clothes that didn't fit or they had a few buttons lost, they would just keep them. And then there were scavengers like me who would go and they'd pick all those clothes up. Because, it's ridiculous to see how, if there's just like 2 buttons missing, people throw it away. But actually, what's more interesting to me is that, you talked about it being only in India. And usually we say Indians are very generous, and people go abroad also and they say Indians, they'll feed you and all of that. But also there's this suspicion of India not being safe. And so how did you deal with things like that?
I'll speak for myself. I didn't feel unsafe even a single day. Not because Calvin was there, but somehow in India, when you do a yatra, like this was people saw it as a pilgrimage, because they say, why would you travel in 2 pair of clothes, cycle all the way when you can sit in a train or a plane and leave money and phone behind? Why would you do this? So it was always looked at it very auspiciously. It was a very sacred thing. And in India, it's really big when you do something like this. And so a lot of people told us, on yatras like this, nothing can touch you. You're too clean. You're not manipulating anything. You're so vulnerable. You have nothing, So I knew that when your intention is so clean, nothing touches you. And also I've been traveling through the country for over 20 years, and I've lived in Delhi for many, many years. I find Delhi really fine. I don't feel it as an unsafe city, and maybe I have a different lens of how I view people. And we slept in open verandas, in temples. Sometimes we even shared a temple with 10 priests, male priests, and I never thought things can go wrong and I should do something to protect myself or carry a small knife or a pepper spray, or these things didn't even cross my mind. And not even a single day was I made to feel unsafe. So it was both ways. But I don't know how Calvin saw safety on the road with a woman traveling with him.
We once stayed at a tiger reserve. I was afraid of the tiger jumping in. But that didn't happen either.
I reckon it's time for more music. What do you reckon,
Yeah,
Stephano?
sure. Let's play again.
Sure thing.
Okay,
Please.
what's next?
Up next is a song called Peacock.
Okay, that
It's a
sounds
song.
colourful.
It's a song about open spaces, because that's where you find peacocks. I was traveling in a train and I thought I'll write a song about this. And I threw in little experiences that I've had along the way. And it came out like this. I'm gonna find a peacock today. I know just where my feathered friends all like to stay. Fields of green with streams of clean, they'll be all chilling today. Rocks and trees, the only walls in the way. Ain't rocking my boat on the dock of the bay. I flew to the meadow by the wherein next day. Rastaman, for I fly sometimes. True what they said, found myself free again in many different ways. I'm gonna live in a cave on a hill. Say a while, take my time, I wanna be still. Strawberry spills like fruity pills are food for the stray. I found myself out today like a spirit had to play, yeah. Racking my boat on the dock of the bay. I flew to the meadow by the wherein X-ray. Rastaman, far I fly sometimes, it's true what they say. Found myself free again in many different ways.
Found myself free again in this different way.
Great.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you so much. Right, where next?
I have a question. What's next?
What's next? After, like in March, I wanted to put my cycle on a boat and go to Sri Lanka. That's what I wanted to do, but there's no boat to Sri Lanka, so that plan is off.
That sounds like a song to me, Calvin. No boat to Sri Lanka.
I'm still working on the one from this trip.
So either cycling back to Delhi and then to the hills to spend the summer, and otherwise in July, me and two of my friends, we are thinking of walking through Africa for 2-3 years. And
Walking.
Wow. And again, no money, no phone, and just taking the boat from Bombay to Djibouti, and then just walking through Africa and ending in Morocco. So that's next.
That's a big challenge, huh?
A good one.
Yeah.
Wow. And of course, write to me if you're interested. Everybody's invited. The trip is on me, so come.
Sure.
Yeah.
It could be nice to get in touch with you during the trip. But if you don't have any phone or whatever, it's very difficult now.
Yeah, what actually we are thinking is that we will put out a WhatsApp number for a friend who would be in India and not traveling with us, and we would let him or her know every 2-3 days where we are through somebody's borrowed phone, and then the person who wants to join can kind of plug in. So it's possible. So that's what we are thinking. So you're welcome.
All together. I mean, you never.
Me,
Calvin?
I'm not in on this plan just yet. Nope. It's a big plan.
Yeah.
In fact, a couple of weeks into our trip, on our cycling trip, I realized I missed my phone. Not really. I mean, I can do without a phone, but I could use a phone by balancing it out. It's nice not to have a phone because in the city, you're using it all the time. But I feel that I would want to have a phone on such a trip. And I'm not all out to the level and extent that she would like to travel. So we started the journey, and I didn't think I would stay in Auroville for so long. But we're staying here together, and she's planning to travel in March again. But I want to write a book about this journey that we did. And until I finish that memoir, I don't want to take up new trips. I'm also busy playing music while the season is on, for musicians in the south, in Goa and Pondicherry. So I would prefer to explore music, which there is a lot of in Auroville and Pondicherry, and then make further travel plans. But like she said, her plans are such that one can always plug in and plug out. So if she's cycling around and she's in the neighborhood, I might bump into her at some point.
So Deepa, at this point, do you feel like you're sort of like a nomad and the meaning of a home has also changed?
Yeah, it's been like that for some years now. And I feel now home is, it's everywhere. And like here I feel at home, and I know when I will move next to wherever, it would be the same. But the road is more home than any place. So, yeah, even when I hit the ECR, sometimes I say, I wish I would just go further. So it feels like that sometimes. I miss it sometimes, to be on the road and to not know where would I sleep and what would I eat and who would give me that food. Yeah.
Wow. If my wife listens to this program, I'm never going to hear the end of it. She's a real traveller. Calvin, tell us about Wumbaya.
Wumbaya came up as a stage name for me. I've done a lot of things in life which seem to have been corrected along the way. Wumbaya was actually from the song Wimbawe, a Wimbawe, a Wimbawe, and I was like, okay, maybe it's Wumbaya, Wumbaya. So I was teaching in a school, I was teaching music, and the kid came to me and said, "Sir, I don't think you're from India, so, what's your name?" So I thought I'll just tell the kid Wumbaya. And then somehow that name stuck. And I made my stage name Calvin Wumbaya, and now my band is called Wumbaya, just to keep it short and simple. So it has no real meaning, but someone did send me a friend request on Facebook and said, "Aren't you the Calvin Wumbaya from Africa that I met earlier?"
Wow.
So it's an actual name. Yeah.
So what sort of music do you play in Wumbaya?
Essentially reggae and folk rock.
Mm-hmm.
So I enjoy a lot of Dylan and a lot of Bob Marley as well. So I merge reggae with the harmonicas,
Yeah.
So the first album also has a lot of djembe, African djembe, and Indian classical and ethnic flutes. So it's a merger of folk and reggae, I would say.
Right.
Even though it's unfortunately that I have to tie myself down to a genre, because there is always a little versatility in each song that projects just a vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, a vibe that's tries to be has folk roots, like about feelings more about lyrics and feelings than headbanging. but with a little stomp, with the reggae coming in a little. It's groovy. It's a little jive-like music. It's not very dance-oriented. It's sort of a merger of all these different genres. You find your space and try to make it work.
Well, it seems to be working so far.
I never saw you playing here around in Auroville.
I've done a few gigs, but very selectively, because we are in Auroville since past few months, and every day has been so busy. We keep meeting.
Do what? Doing what?
Tell me, you really want to know? It's as surprising to me as it is going to be to you. We never thought this would happen, but once we got here, people wanted to know our story so much that, we started doing story sharing, then people would just invite us to lunches and dinners.
Oh.
So she still has no money and no phone.
Oh, that's great.
So we just keep sharing our storytellers now, past through 2-3 months, we've been doing storytelling rather than music making. And I like that because it's a different correlated sort of experience. So that's the reason that I'm not playing as much and taking my time getting used to the community and vibe of Auroville and all these different platforms and people doing different things. So it's a slow process. It's a slow simmer.
Okay. Do you want to play another song?
Sure.
For us?
Yeah, seeing as I did mention that I like to be versatile. This is a little different. It's a song I call Thinking's My Baby's Blues. I wrote this song wondering, am I thinking too much? Or are people thinking too much? What is this song about? Is it about me thinking too much or someone else thinking too much? Everyone thinking too much? So I realized that, okay, I'm gonna call this song Thinking is My Baby's Blues.
Thinking's my baby's blues. I hope you're gonna keep your foot loose. Lord knows you wanna jive, but you seem a little bit preoccupied. You know I wanna take you to this home of mine. They built it on a boat with a lullaby. And just so you know, we never tried to get stuck in a whirlpool of emotion. Yeah, thinking's my baby's blues. I hope you're gonna keep your foot loose. Lord knows you ought to jive, but you seem a little bit preoccupied. And though you think you're gonna find the sunny side all by yourself, charging up your power lines, light bulbs never strummed a dizzy vibe. I don't know if you know, but it hurts my eyes just to see that thinking's my baby's blues. I hope you're gonna keep your foot loose, eh? Lord knows you ought to jive, but you seem a little bit preoccupied.
Great.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you very much. So, how much time have you guys got left in Auroville?
We don't know, because every time I think that okay, I can leave on first, somebody will offer me a house to live in for a week, and then we postpone it.
Okay.
Or somebody will say, okay, can you come to this place to share a story, and then we postpone it. So yeah, I mean, I thought I would leave by 1st March, but it's there's no time to leave right now. So for now I'm here till 8th March, because 8th is my last sharing, and
Okay.
then if nothing else happens, then I leave on 9th.
But we all know how Auroville works, don't we?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's like I feel it's like Auroville is like a very interesting organism. It keeps interacting with you, and the interaction keeps changing day by day. And if it wants to keep you, it will throw things that will never let you go. So it's really amazing how things are flowing. Like when I left Delhi for Auroville, I never thought we were going to do some sharings here. It was not even the plan.
Right.
But when we got here, it just happened, one at LinkTree, and then it just happened, and we've done over 40 sharings already, over
Wow.
meals in houses and communities across Auroville, which we would have not even been able to penetrate through had we not cycled. So it's amazing how this one small, which for us it was we just cycled, how this story has bridged gaps through all the communities for us,
Right.
and it's amazing. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, I have a just brief question to you, all three, because Aila is for you also, and I just want to ask you one thing you like very much about Auroville, one thing you don't like. One and one. Who start?
I'll start.
You start.
I know what I like already. The cycling paths.
Oh, they are so beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh man, I didn't know that we were heading to Auroville, the paradise of cyclists, you know. So that'll always be a lasting impression, to have the ability to cycle in the shade, surrounded by trees.
Yeah.
That's great. And one thing I don't like about Auroville, very tricky question. What I don't.
Too many cars.
That's the
Oh,
first thing
yeah.
on my mind, because if I'm riding cycle behind one on a red soil road, it's not very nice. So, but I can live with that.
Oh, yeah, if you come from Delhi, here is a paradise anyway. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
For us here now, year by year, the number of cars is increasing, and it's not nice.
It's not nice at all.
No.
Are you listening, Auroville?
Anyway.
Slow down, Auroville. If you see a cyclist,
slow down.
slow
Yeah,
down.
sure.
Yeah.
For me, my favorite thing about Auroville is no red lights, no traffic lights. It's such a big relief because, coming from any city in India, it's a very big relief. And what I don't like, I don't know. It's a tricky one, but
You can also say that you never find something you don't like.
yeah. But I feel Auroville can lighten up a little bit. It can loosen up a little bit. I mean, sometimes I find it a little bit too uptight for a place like this.
Right.
So that's what I feel it can do with a little bit more lightening up.
Yeah.
Cool.
Aila, what about
Aila, what about you?
I think so. I've been coming to Auroville for quite a while now. But this is the first time I've stayed here for this long and not as a tourist. I think it was really nice that for the first time people just told me if it's meant to happen, then it'll happen, and I wasn't chasing after something. And I think as a young person, I'm always trying to figure out what's the next step. So it was nice to know that you don't need to know what the next step is. And it was really interesting for me to see other young people like me also as lost and as confused, but also as motivated to do different things. And that was my favorite part about Auroville. And what I didn't like was that sometimes time seems to go very fast or it seems to go very slow, and there's no in between.
Yeah.
And there are days when you feel like you wish you had more time to do things, and there are days where you feel like is it this slow or is it just me that's not being able to do things? So it's very confusing to not have an in between.
Okay, good.
So Stephano,
No,
one thing.
it's very difficult for me to. I don't know. Actually, I don't know. It's more easy to say what you like that you don't like. But for me, it's different from you because I'm more in the real life of the town. So I start from what I don't like is the bureaucracy. I don't like bureaucracy of Auroville because there are a bunch of stops to something you can do or you can ask for or whatever, and this is very annoying. What I like is the acceptance of the town to relate with the arts. Yeah, because usually here arts are the real soul of the town, and this was something that Mother was able to give in her writings and in her inspiration to life, and this is my position.
Yeah.
What about you, Mathew? Now,
Well, what you said about the arts thing, I think that would be my like, because I was a musician in my 20s, and then I had a 20-year break where I got distracted by academia. And it's only since I came to Auroville that I started playing music again, writing and performing. And I don't know about you guys, but for me, there's nothing like an Aurovillian audience. You just the love that's coming at you from the audience when you play is like, it's certainly not like playing bars and clubs in the UK. I can tell you that. But yeah, how did you feel? I mean, have you done any musical performances?
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. I totally feel you. I totally agree that the audience comes without any expectations of what they want to hear. And whatever you have to offer them, they'll really absorb it and not judge you for it. So it's certainly a great audience to have, and you won't find that in a commercial pub or a cafe very easily in a city especially. But even if we were to compare it to other tourist places, it's certainly the highlight of performing here. The audience being so receptive to anything that you play that may not work well in another place, you know. It may not connect with everyone, but maybe people are not so ready to absorb just about everything. They come with preconceptions of what they would like to hear, and if it if it doesn't match, it work for them. But to feed the spirit of the arts here is more rewarding.
Right.
Which is why people want to stay here and not worry about making all those big shows and big bucks doing gigs. And, it's spiritually feeding. Like for any artist, to have a receptive audience is the first step to going anywhere.
Yeah. Cool. It is. It's very cool.
Yeah, absolutely. This is something I felt with my band also. We had just 2 gigs, and the people was so crazy for us that I couldn't believe it. I never saw something like this even in the West when I was playing for someone. It was incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you for this beautiful, wonderful interview we had with you.
Thank you for having us over.
We're going to finish this interview for this week.
I think so, yeah. Can you believe it's been an hour already?
No way, really?
Yeah. So, how do you want to finish? With a live song or...?
I think we'll do both.
Both?
Yeah,
Okay.
so can you think of a nice closing song for us, Calvin?
You can sing Samaroh. Okay.
I have one Hindi song up my sleeve which he likes.
Okay.
Why not? Why
yeah.
not this one?
Okay, sure. It's not much of a closing song, but yeah, it should work.
Yeah, there are no rules to
There are no really
closing.
rules in Auroville.
It'll be nice to have a Hindi song.
Yeah. So this is the only Hindi song that I've written. It's a song called Samaroh. In Hindi, it means gathering. It's a song about a gathering of people about to rise and get together and question the establishment and the way things work. So... Well, I'll translate it for you if you like later, but this is what it sounds like.
अब फंस गया लौंडा फैशन में अब फंस गया लौंडा फैशन में क्योंकि खुद से लड़ेगा टेंशन में अब फंस गया लौंडा फैशन में क्योंकि खुद से लड़ेगा टेंशन में मुल्क की मिट्टी माथे पे क्योंकि सैनिक सबके साथों के सजेगा समारोह जगेगा समारोह सजेगा समारोह जगेगा देश के बंदर शहरों में, देश के बंदर शहरों में, पाल पोस के प्यासे लहरों में, देश के बंदर शहरों में, पाल पोस के प्यासे लहरों में, गर्म खून के चादर में ढका है बाबा बादल में, सजेगा समारोह, जगेगा समारोह, सजेगा समारोह, जगेगा समारोह।
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for coming in. It's really been fun.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks a lot.
Just last minute.
Okay.
What was talking about this song?
This song?
Yeah.
फंस गया लौंडा फैशन में क्योंकि खुद से लड़ेगा टेंशन में. Everyone is stuck up in fashion because they want to fight with themselves in style, which is what we have to do eventually. Fight with ourselves to bring out a better selves. मुल्क की मिट्टी माथे पे क्योंकि सैनिक सबके साथों के means the mud of the land is on our foreheads because it's clear who the soil belongs to because सैनिक सबके साथों के because all the soldiers belong to friends, you know, all soldiers are fighting for their friends like देश के बंदर शहरों में पालपोस के प्यासे लहरों में means all the monkeys of the country are in the city fed yet malnourished in waves. गरम खून के चादर में ढका है बाबा बादल में says in a blanket of hot blood a Baba so called is sitting in the clouds. He's in the clouds assuming that all is well, but he's wearing a coat of hot-bloodedness, you know. So it's all questioning the establishment what the song is about. So once you question all of this, then the gathering will rise. That's what this song is sort of about.
Very deep. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. And see you after your next adventure.
Yes.
Oh, and by the way, I'm also playing at a festival that's coming up now at Auroville. It's called the 1010 Festival.
Yes.
Some friends.
Not really Auroville,
Yeah.
but
Around.
vicinity.
around. Yeah.
Around.
And also I'm working with the Hibiscus Festival.
Good.
So I'll probably be playing some songs there as well on the 13th of March.
Okay.
So hopefully some other things will come up.
All right. See you guys. See you around.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.